Okay, hello guys, how are you? Uh, okay, so today we'll see how we can create a responsive HTML CSS template. For this, I'm using Visual Studio Code and it's already been installed. And I have already downloaded some of the pictures that I'm going to put in the web page. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to save this with the name of index.html. And same, I want to create a css file, so we're going to save it with the name of index.css. Okay, moving on with the next thing, we're going to write down the html code and the css code. And the most important thing, I'm using the extension, and that is browser preview extension and the live server extension. So if you want, you can download it. That is browser preview extension I'm using, and I'm using the live server extension. So I can see the live changes happening in the browser itself. Okay, as soon as I'm going to save my code. Okay, going to start. So I'm going to turn on the browser preview, and you can see it got turned off over here. So I wanted to clear this up over here. Okay, moving on with the next thing, I wanted to write down the HTML code. So I wanted to say HTML5, and the title I wanted to give is responsive design. Okay, and inside the body I wanted to include the class that is going to be div class, and the name is going to be main underscore container. Okay, so after this I wanted to include some text to see everything is working fine or not. So they're saying hello world. Okay, so try saving this and now turning on the browser preview, and it is going to work. So I will say open with live server, and this is working perfectly fine. So also let me open in the browser preview up over here. So I'm opening the browser preview up over here, and we are going to, it needs to work automatically, but right now it's not working. So I wanted to paste the URL up over here. Okay, so anything I'm going to change and saving, it is going to reflect in the browser live. Okay, so let's get started with the things quickly. And inside the main container I'm going to create a div class that is going to be my navigation bar, and inside the navigation bar I can put the logo or the name. On the actual websites you have seen, there is going to be navigation bar, and then there is going to be some images, some content. Same, we are going to make it much more simple. Okay, so let's say navigation bar. So I wanted to give it a name, nav bar. And after this nav bar name, what I'm going to do, I wanted to include a div class that is going to contain the logo. And after this logo, I wanted to give some name. Let's say I'm giving Teqstories. Try saving this, try saving this, and we're getting Teqstories up over here. But if you will see on the logo or on the text or on the company name of the web page, when you're clicking, you'll be able to redirect to same page. So I want to include anchor tag up over here. I'm going to wrap this Teqstories text with the anchor tag up over here. Okay, so we have wrapped the text. Now it is going to turn up in the blue, so we can click on this. Okay, moving on with the next thing, what we're going to do, we are going to create some buttons that is going to be home and about us button. So we can include it in navbar underscore items class. And after this, what we are going to do, we are going to create an unordered list, and inside this unordered list I wanted to include all the list elements, that is, let's say home. Try copying this and pasting, it is going to make your work simple. So about us, we can put contact us, or we can include services, we can include team, and anything you need. So let's say about. Okay, and let's say services, we can say contact up over here, and we can say our team. Okay, anything you want to put. So we are getting home, about, services, contact, our team. Don't worry about the cases like uppercase or lowercase, anything. We will target everything using the css, so that's not a problem up over here. Now moving on with the next thing, what we are going to do up over here, we are going to create div class where we can include our image. So div class is going to be with the name of banner underscore image, and after this, what I'm going to do after this is going to put some content. So let's say I'm putting div class, and inside this I'm putting banner underscore content. Okay, let me move it up so you can see the things. So banner underscore content, and after this I'm going to say I want to include an h1, and I can say learn HTML comma CSS, just give some space, comma CSS comma JavaScript. Okay, and now the next thing I wanted to include a break after this, so I will include a break br tag, and after this I wanted to include a span. Why I'm including a span? Because I want learn HTML CSS JavaScript in a different color and the text other text in different color. So I can say with text stories. Okay, so saving this, and we are getting the things like this. Okay, now after this what I'm going to do, I wanted to include some paragraph, so we can use the random paragraph, and for the paragraph we are going to use the paragraph tag, and I wanted to type lorem paragraph, that is the random one, and I want a single line, so this much is enough, I guess. Okay, so we are getting the line up over here also. Now we are going to create about, services, contact, and our team in the same page. We are not going to include any links for the pages or anything. Also, we have missed one part, that is we want home, about, and services to be treated as a button, so we have to include the anchor tag everywhere. So we will try to include the anchor tag. I am using ahref, and I wanted to close it up over here. And moving on with the next thing, I will try to close the anchor tag, and I will try to put in the link that is going to be hash. For right now, as I already told you, I'm not going to put any links. Moving on with the next thing, what we are going to do, we are going to create the about page. Okay, so this banner image got closed up, and this is our main event, main div, that is main container div. If you will see this div, and everything needs to come up inside this. So after this I am going to say div class is going to be about, and using the class and id we can target both of the things. So we can give the class also and id also. So let's say id we are giving is about. Okay, up over here, and we can also give the id to this main container, and we can give some id that is going to be, let's say, home. If you need, you can target using the class also, using the id also, totally your choice. So we are using both of the methods, I'm telling you. And after this what I'm going to do, in about I'm going to create a h1 class, and I wanted to say title, and inside this class I'm going to say about us. Okay, now I wanted to put some paragraph, so I will put p lorem text and saving this. So we are getting some about us text up over here. So after reading the text we can put some button, let's say learn more or go over there, something like this button, that is like, yeah, if you need more details of about us, you can click and you can redirect to about us page. Okay, so let's say we are creating div class, and we can give a name that is btn, and after this we can include an anchor tag ahref, and we can give hash, and we can write down the text that is learn more text. So saving this, we are got the text that is learn more up over here. Okay, so this is how we have created this, and after this div, that is about div, I wanted to create services. In services I wanted to put some image, and let's say we can put 3 images, and I have only, if you will see, let me turn on the files. So we have this banner image that we wanted to use for background, and we have 2 images, so we will use this one or this one for the banner. I'm not sure which one to use. And services I downloaded, so for the services I will use the same picture 3 times, and for the team I will use this picture, and I will try to include 3 members, 6 members, or 8 members, and we'll see at that time. So moving on with the next thing, we are going to include learn more, and we are going to include a div. The id is going to be services, and let's say after the services we can give some uh, the class we can give is services, and the id we can give is also going to be services up over here. And moving on with the next thing, what we are going to do up over here, we have given services, so we are going to include the h1 class, and title we can include the class name, so title title, and we can say about our services, because our services, and try saving this, we are getting our services. Now we can include some paragraph, and inside the paragraph we can include some text again, that is the default lorem ipsum generated text. And now we can include the pictures, so let's create the div after this paragraph. So I will create a div class, and the class name is going to be different underscore services. Okay, and inside this I wanted to include the pictures, so I will include another class, that is going to be div class different underscore services underscore item. Okay, so it is going to be easy to target a particular image. Inside this I can include the image source tag, image source, and I can put the image. So the name was services.jpg, services.png, and try saving this, we are going to get the image. So same image we want 3 times, and after every image we want some text, that it is HTML, CSS or JavaScript, and some a little line, a single line we can put. If you want, you can also use the ALT tag, that stands for alternative. If somehow your image is not going to display, you can um, represent the name that is going to be visible to the user. After this I wanted to create h3 class, and in h3 class I wanted to say, let's say sub underscore title we can give, and the title we can give any title you need. So let's say you can give HTML or CSS or JavaScript or web development or whatever you need. So after this, what we are trying to do is, we are going to include a paragraph after this h3, and inside this paragraph we are going to say lorem ipsum text, and we need some a single line of the text after the image. So I'm saving this, and as soon as I'm saving this, we are getting the text and the content. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this and paste it 3 times, so we will be able to get this item again. So I wanted to copy this, and I wanted to uh, okay, so it is closing up over here. Okay, so after this I wanted to include the same thing up over here and same thing up over here. So we are going to get 3 images, 1, 2 and 3. Let's change the name from HTML to CSS. Okay, up over here CSS, and up over here I wanted to give JavaScript. So you can see the name got changed up, and we are getting everything aligned up perfectly fine. Now after this services has been done, this is enough. In contact we can include a small form if we need, that is going to contain email, subject and message. So quickly we can do that also. So let's say for including this, what we can do, we can go up over here and we can create a div class, and we can give the name is going to be contact us. Okay, and just give the id also. So give the id as contact us, and after this what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the h1. The class is going to be title, title title, and we can give the name that is contact us the title, and it is going to be created up. If you will see, contact us also got created up. After this h1 we can create a form. So div class is going to be, let's say, form wrapper. We can give the name form wrapper, and after this what we can do, we can create a div class name, and inside the class name I can give the class name as form underscore input. For testing purposes, I'm including my form inside the div, but if you need, you can include your form inside in your form element. Okay, so I wanted to include an input type that is going to be text, and we can include some placeholder, and placeholder is going to basically contain that is email. Okay, now trying to copy and paste the same thing again, so we will get three input fields, 1 2 and 3. First is email, second is subject, third one is going to be our message. So try saving this, and we are going to see we are getting all the three input fields, that is email, subject and message. But message field is too small, and usually message field needs to be a little bit bigger. So instead of input type, we can use the text area up over here. So let's say text area, and try to close this up over here. So we can put it text area, and you can see the message field got increased up in the size. Okay, so this is how we can include the text area, and now we have contact form also ready. After this, we can include some submit button, and we can do the things. So let's say we are going to include the submit button, so we can create the use the div class, the same div class name we can use, that is going to be form underscore input. And after this inside this we can say that the div class is going to be btn, or we can directly give the div class btn. Okay, so we don't need the form input, we can give btn, and inside this div class we can include an anchor tag, that is ahref, and let's say hash, and we are going to say submit button. Okay, so we are going to get the submit button also, and we are getting the submit button also. So meanwhile we have done everything till now moving on with the next thing. What I wanted to include is up over here is our team. So for the team, let's say the same image I want to include for multiple times, that is 1 2 let's say 3 or 6 or 8 times in a row. I want three times the image to come up like this. So let's say we am using the div class, and I wanted to give the name is going to be our team, and after this I can give some id can be our team. And moving on with the next thing, we can target the things. So we are going to say h1 class name as title. You can see I'm using the same id name, same class name again and again, that is title. Why? Because I want to target all the h1 at once, that's why, and it is a good practice also. So we are saying our team up over here. Now I wanted to include a div class that is going to contain that is going to be the wrapper, and we are going to include another class for the particular row. Okay, so div class, and we can say our team underscore wrapper. And after this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to include another div class that is going to be, we can say the first row, so we can say team1 team. Okay, now I can close this, and I can include the team members. So let's say I'm including team class as team members, team underscore members, and inside this you can include the image. So let's say you are including image source tag, and you are saying the image is services, sorry, the image name was team3.jpg, and you can give some alternative, and alternative is, let's say, team underscore image. Okay, any text you can give, and we are going to close this, and this div is going to close up over here. So we wanted to use the same div two more times to display this in a particular row, because we are going to use the display as flex. So as soon as I'm saving this, we are going to get the image 1 2 and 3 times. If you want to include one more row, you can include one more row, that's actually your choice. And if you want, what you have to do is, as soon as this div is closing, you have to copy the same div, copy and paste it up over here, just change the name so you can target your second row easily, and you can see we are getting 6 images at once. Okay, now moving on with the next thing, we have created this. So we wanted to create, because we are almost done, we want to create our footer. We can create up over here. So let's say for creating the footer, what we're going to do, we are going to create a div class that is going to contain footer text, uh, div class name footer, and we can use anchor tag, that is ehref is going to be hash. Okay, and we can give some text stories, uh, original or anything, so whatever you want it to give. So if you will see, I am using div class as for wrapping the content. If you need, you can also use the latest semantic tags if you want. Okay, so most of the things, the structure is ready, and if we need any changes, we can do the changes later. But let's go and try to do the CSS also. We will try. So first thing, we want to include the CSS file. So we will include the CSS file inside the head tag, and I'm going to say link rel is gonna be style sheet, and href is going to be the name of the CSS file is index.css. Okay, I wanted to give the style.css, but okay, anyhow. So if our CSS file is linked or not, to check, we are going to give the body, and we are going to give some background color as any color you can give, crimson, and most of the time I'm going to use the crimson. So but we are getting the color, so it means everything is perfectly fine up over here. So now totally the things are right up over here. We are going to target the things. So let's say we are targeting our h1 dot title. First of all, we are going to target our h1 dot title, title, that is h1 is the element name and title is the class name, and I wanted to give it some color, so let's say color I am giving is crimson. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is up over here is I want to give some text transform, and I wanted to say I need it to transform to uppercase. The text is going to transform into the uppercase. Okay, okay, so it got, I thought what happened. Okay, not a problem. So we are going to give some font size also, let's say 40 px, and too big, so let's say 38 px is going to be fine, and it is looking good. Just we are going to change the font, and we are going to use the cursive font. So for the cursive font, actually these are going to be little bit cursive, so we can give some word and letter spacing also. So let's say word spacing of 25 px is, mm, that's too much actually, but we will see according to the font. We can also, but if you will give the letter spacing, it is going to be fine. So let's say letter spacing we are giving is 10 px, and no, too much. The 5 px we can see. Hmm. So if you will try to change the font, it is means the cursive font basically needs a little bit more space to the right. That's why I'm doing this. And now I wanted to give some margin. So let's say margin we can give from the bottom. So we can get some space from the bottom. So let's say margin from the bottom we can give is 10 px, or it is not increasing up 20 px. Okay. It is not happening up over here. We will see this later. Now the paragraph, I wanted to target all my paragraphs, so I will give the font size to the paragraph. I want it to go a little bit low, so 15 px of font size is fine. Okay, now we can give some line height because we need some space in between. So line height we can give, let's say 15 px is going to be fine. Okay, no, 20 px or 20 px or 25 px. 20 px is looking good. Okay, now we can give some color. So you can give any type of color for the paragraph, but let's say I'm giving a9 a default, some simple color, and you can see it is coming up over here. Okay, okay, but now what we will do, if we will try to put some background, it is going to work perfectly fine. So we are getting the paragraph also. Let's give some margin, and let's give some margin. So same margin from the bottom, I wanted to use the margin that is 20 px from the bottom. Okay, 15 px let's say, I'm going to use the margin. Okay, we are getting the space, but we will make the whole container as relative, so it is going to be perfectly fine. And now the next thing I wanted to include is I wanted to include target my button, and inside the button I wanted to give all my buttons, that is learn more and our submit button and the other buttons. I wanted to give that is going to contain the width of 150 px and the height of 35 px. Okay, and I also we cannot see it because we don't have anything to see. So let's say we are giving some border that is 2 px solid, and crimson we can give. Okay, so we can see the width and height. So let's increase the width to 180 px a little bit more. Okay, now moving on with the next thing, we can give some line height, and so as soon as we are going to give the line height, it is going to come up in the center 20 px. Okay, 30, and 30 px is looking good. Let's say line height we are giving 35 px. So that's looking good. So now we are given the line height also, and we can display it as a block, and we can move it the content to the center. So we can say we can also change the color. So color is going to be crimson, and now we can see the text align to be center, text dash align to center, and okay, text align to the center, and we can align this whole button to the center. So to align you have to actually give the margin. So how much margin we have to give is actually, let me see up over here, is 20, it's taking 180 px of the width. Okay, we can get try 20 px, and 20 px of the margin basically is going to work. So let's say margin I'm giving is 20 px 0 auto, or 20 px auto 0. Okay, it is coming up a little bit more, so we can say 25 px, and we are getting, okay, we are also getting the blue underline and the other things. So the color is not coming up. Why? Because btn is wrapped inside the anchor tag, so give btna. And also we are getting the underlining. So in the global selector we can use that is star, and with the global selector we can say text decoration is going to be none. We don't want any text decoration, and you can see the text decoration got removed up over here. Now to align the items correctly, I wanted to give my main container a position that is going to be relative. Okay, so I can display everything as a fixed, and move the position of everything easily. Now we are left with the navbar. Let's target the navbar also, and we will target this text also, and we will try to put some banner, and everything else you will see got targeted up. Buttons and everything else is coming up over here perfectly fine. We have to change the font. So let's say we can go on the Google Chrome and browsers, and we can say we can pick up some good font. So let's say cursive font, and we can go on Google Fonts, and we can search for some good Google font. And if I also remember one of the Google font that is available on Google font, that is Allura. Okay, we can also use Allura, and I have used this. It is too good. So let's try to use this, and we are going to import this. So I'm going to import this style in my CSS. So on the top I will import it, and try saving this. And we need the font family also, so we are going to pick up the font family quickly, and we are going to paste this font family in h1.title. Let's say now we are getting the things, and it is somehow looking good. Okay, okay, so we will see this if we need to change it, the colors and the other things we will see later. Now targeting the navbar, because we are navbar is getting up over here in blue color, and we are going to target the navbar quickly. So I'm going to say navbar, and inside the navbar I wanted to give some width. I wanted to represent from 100%, and I wanted to give some height as 65 px, let's say. mm, okay, 75, or let's say 65 px. We will put the image after in the background. It is going to come up, and we also want the navigation bar or the text to come up in an inline. So we will say position as, let's say, absolute, and we are going to say display as flex. We are going to use display as flex only because it is going to help us to create the responsive web page design. Okay, so we are also going to target this Teqstories, and I don't remember where I have written that. So that was logo, I guess. Yes, div plus logo Teqstories. So we are also going to target the logo, but we are going to see this. So we are going to say justify the content from the justify content. I want the space around, and space around is fine, and I want to align the items to center. Okay, now moving on with the next thing, what we have is we have this logo. Let's target the logo first. Logo, and that was an anchor tag also. So we are going to give the font family. So whatever font family I have copied, I will try to give it and try saving it. The font family got changed up, and we are going to give it a font size also. Let's say font size of 40 px. Too much, so we can give it 35 px. Okay, too much, but 33 px, let's say. Okay, 35 px is looking fine. 35 px font size we can give, and we can give some color. So color I'm going using drive by default is the crimson. You can use any other color also. And now I want the things to come up in a line. So if you will remember, I have created everything in an the home about us in an unordered list and in the list item. So I wanted to target that, and that was under created under and the class name navbar items. So, and navbar items unordered list, and I will say up over here that I want all the things to display as flex. So as soon as I'm doing it, got displayed in an inline, and it is like flexible now. And same thing, I want to target the list item also. So I will say list item also I wanted to target, and I wanted to give some margin that is going to be 0 and 10 px, let's say. Okay, looking good enough. 0 and 10 px of the margin we can give, and now we can target the e tag also, because it is containing, it is all the items are linked or wrapped inside your anchor tag. So we are going to say text transform as uppercase we can give, and we can give some color. So let's say right now I'm giving the color that is going to be dark blue for an instance, but dark blue is looking same like the link. So I'm going to give a different color. Let's say we are going to give some green or something, or some red, let's say. And saving this, we are getting the color up over here. Now talking about the next thing, we will make the things a little bit go different. Now let's try to put the banner. Okay, banner image. So the banner image we will put up in the div class banner underscore image. So let's me target this. So I will say banner underscore image, and inside this I'm going to give some background, and I'm going to say background is URL, and the URL was banner dot jpg, if I'm right. So we are getting up over here, and let me see the page, and we have to actually give some CSS to make it look good. So let's say I'm using banner.jpg, and let me say I want it no repeat, and I want to come up in from top and center. So I want this image to display in the half of my screen. So I know the height, my screen size is 92 pixels, but I will try to give 600 pixels up over here, the height. Okay, why it is not taking px? Now looking good enough. And now I will change this color of the list item to white. Okay, now the list item is also looking good, and we have to target learn HTML CSS with text stories and the paragraph. We will target that also, but we are giving the height, and I want this image to display as flex. Okay, and the next thing I want to justify the content to the center. Okay, and I want all the items to align in the center, so you will be able to see all the items are going to come up in the center, and we are getting the things perfectly fine up over here. And now moving on with the next thing, we are going to see banner underscore content. So we are going to see banner underscore content because in this I have provided the content, and I wanted to give the content to text align to the center, text dash align to center. And moving on with the next thing, I wanted to give the color as hashtag triple F, and wanted to save this. And moving on with the next thing, I have given the color as hashtag triple F. I want the banner underscore content, and I wanted to give banner underscore content. I wanted to give h1 up over here, and the h1 I wanted to give the text transform to uppercase, perfectly fine. And I wanted to give some line height, so let's say line height I'm given is going to be 40 px. Okay, looking good, but we can decrease a little bit of line height. 40 px is fine. Okay, now we can give some margin from the bottom, and I'm sure margin from the bottom 20 px, 15 px is going to be fine. Let's say 15 px is going to be fine from margin from the bottom. And now if you will see the with text stories, I have written that inside our span, so I will target that span. So to target this span, what I have to do up over here is I have to write down the banner underscore content h1, and I will use the tag name, that is span up over here, and in the span I will write down the color, and I will say the color is crimson. So if you will see, it got changed up, but what we are getting, the banner image is not looking good, it is looking a little bit different. So instead of this we can use the another banner image. So the name was banner2.jpg, and let's see how we are getting. Okay, this much is looking much more good, but it's only the small background, only the pink background that is coming up, and also in the corner we are getting some white spaces, that is because of the margin. So in the global selector you can say margin is going to be 0. Okay, so the margin became 0, and we are getting up the things. Now how our banner image is looking like this. So banner2.jpg, okay, so means okay, so banner2.jpg and looking like this because it is having the property center and top, and we have to define the background position also, to background position, background dash size also to contain, let's say, or we can say to cover. Okay, so it is going to be fine, and if you will see, we are getting the things up over here perfectly fine. And now it is looking good, the color is matching up also, the crimson. And we can change this learn HTML CSS colors a little bit. So um, what we have up over here is banner content, and we can change the color, this color a little bit to go blackish. Okay, now this is looking more good, and if we will see up over here, it is looking more good up over here, and everything is looking perfect. And we can give this home about us also some color, so we can give it some color that is going to look a little bit like this. Okay, and we can change the font of the other text also, so they are going to look more good. Okay, now what we are going to do, we have given the span the color of crimson, and moving on with the next thing, we are going to target about services, contact us, everything. So we are going to target our dot about, the ID about the class name I have given, and dot services comma dot contact us, and comma dot our team. Okay, so our team I have given. Just let me check everything. That was the name about. Okay, so the about, we have services, we have contact us, we have our team. Okay, perfectly fine, we are getting the things, and we want the text align of these things to come in the center, and text align to the center. So try saving this. Everything got aligned up in the center, and contact us and everything, and we want some padding, and we will try to give some padding, that is going to be 5% and 10%, let's say, so we can get some space in between. And if you will see, we are getting the space between the button and our headings. Okay, so now much more looking good. And moving on with the next thing, let's try to give the services some background color, because the image is going to stick up over here. So we are going to target our dot services. We are going to give background dash color is going to be, we can give some white color, that is mixture of F5, let's say. And if you will see, it is a white and a little bit. Okay, okay, the color is not getting displayed up over here, and I know why. So in the services I have defined some of the div class, where I put different services item, different services, and subtitle, and so different services item, and our subtitle classes name I have defined. Okay, let me target this. So I'm going to say dot different underscore services, and I wanted to say in different services I want it to display as flex, and I want to say the justify content, because every image is going to come up in a line, and I wanted to say space in between. Okay, so if you will go up over here, we are getting every image coming up over here perfectly fine. Okay, so if image space is not coming up, why it is not coming up? Because we have to target the items also. So we are going to say different underscore services, and I wanted to say different underscore services underscore item. Okay, item, and inside this I wanted to give some width, let's say width of 20% or width of 30%. So width of 30%, 20% is more low, 30% width is fine, every image is looking similar. And now we wanted to give some space, so we can give some margin, and let's say between this paragraph and first, we want this margin to come up. So margin from top we can give is going to be, let's say 35 px, we can try, and we can refresh. Okay, so this is looking more good. And now what we are going to target, we are going to target the images that are inside this class. So let's target the image, and we are inside the image, we are going to say that width is going to be 100% of every image, that width is going to be 100%, and I want the margin from bottom, that is going to be 20 px, let's say. Okay, perfectly fine. And or let's say margin from bottom we can get is 25 px also, a little bit more, and you can see every image is coming up aligned at perfectly. Now we are going to target we can target our h3. This was the h3, and the title, I guess that was, I forgot the name, subtitle, and that was in h3. And we are going to target the h3 subtitle, and or we can directly see if we can achieve this with the h3, then it is fine. And paragraph has been already been altered, and then we are going to move up on the contact us, and then to the teams quickly. Also, we are going to go on inspect. We are going to see how responsive the web page design is actually right now. Okay, so if you will see, the web page design is much more responsive, and if you will see, it is much more responsive, but the image and your navigation bar is something we have to make it more responsive. Okay, so it means the image and the navigation bar, we have to make it much more responsive, but because it is not displaying as a flex. Okay, so we will see this, but we will try to do this quickly. So let's complete this. So we have completed our image, targeting the things of image. Let's target in the different item there was h3. Let's target the h3. Let's give some color, and we will try to give some color that is crimson, and saving this, we are getting the crimson color, and we can give some margin from bottom that is between paragraph and this. So let's say 15 px we can give, and okay, perfectly looking fine. And we have also given some color. If you will see, this type of color we are getting, so let's make it more dark. So F5 was the color code, but we will try to make it a little bit more dark, but this is too much, so we are going to give something like this. You're getting the red shaded. No, this is looking good. So if you will see, but the paragraph is much more dull right now, so this is what we have don't want. hmm. This is much more looking good, and we are getting the things, and we can, other things are also visible up over here. Okay, so let's create the contact us, and so for the contact us, what we are going to do, we are going to target our form wrapper. I have created form underscore wrapper, and after this wrapper, what I'm going to say I want to target the form underscore input also. So targeting the form wrapper and input, I wanted to give some margin from the bottom, that is 15 px. Let's say we are getting the margin between every input field, and the next thing I want is targeting every input field. So targeting the input field is much more easy. So we are going to copy this form wrapper form input, and we are going to say input, and we are going to use the box, and we are going to say inside the box the type is your type. Type is gonna be is equals to text input field we are going to target, and we are going to close this, open this, and what we are going to give, we are going to give the width as to 50 px, and also we are going to give padding, and we are going to give the padding as 10 px and 20 px. Let's say looking fine. Let's increase the padding from 10 px to, let's say, 12 px, the top and bottom, and 20 px looking fine. The input field text area we will also target later, and after this, what we can do up over here, we can give some border, so it is going to look good. Border we can give is 1 px, solid, and we can give some color that is similar to white. Triple C we can try. Okay, looking good enough. Now we are going to target our in message field also. So that was text area. So we are going to say form input, and text area we are going to give the same width, and we are going to actually perform the same with padding and border. So we are going to copy this, and it is going to be perfectly fine. We can also give some height because message needs to have some more height, so we can give some height that is going to be 100 px, let's say, and looking good. Let's decrease it a little bit. 80 px looking good, and now what we can give, can we resize it? If you will see text area, you can resize in the actual page. If you will go text area, actually you can resize, but we are going to say resize is not allowed, so we can give a property that is resize is going to be none, and we don't want it to be resized. Now we are going to target the final thing, that is our team. So quickly we are going to see the classes name of our team. So the classes name I have used our team and team wrapper and team members. Okay, so moving on with the next thing, I wanted to target our team, so I will target our team, and I will say that background color is going to contain the same color I have used for the services, that is F8E9. This. Okay, so let's say background color I want the similar, and moving on with the next thing, our team I have targeted. So I wanted to now I want to target dot our team wrapper, and inside the wrapper I'm going to say that display needs to be as flex, because I want the images to come up in a particular order, and we are going to say flex direction is going to be a column. Okay, so we are going to get everything in aligned perfectly fine. We are going to see, so now our team wrapper is the class name, and our team wrapper and the div class team. So our team wrapper, and we are going to target the team, and we are going to say that margin from bottom can be 25 px, let's say, and we can also mm, we can actually give the display as flex, and we can give display as flex, and we can say justify the content as space between. Okay, now everything you'll be see we are getting up in a similar order. Okay, now moving on with the next thing, we can target particular team, that is team 1, team 2 we have. So let's say we are going to say our team underscore wrapper, and dot um, team dash 1 dot team, right? So we can target like this, and we can now can give some margin from the bottom, because we want the margin between every team. Let's say margin from bottom 25 px if I'm giving, we are getting. So we also want the space in between, so space between is not assigned up over here. Okay, so let's say index.html, we are going to target the class name team members also. So let's see, and we're going to say our team wrapper, and we the name is our team underscore wrapper, and team underscore member. Okay, let me check the HTML. Team members, actually it is team underscore members, and now we can say that it is going to contain some width, so we can make it a little bit smaller, 30%, and the image we are getting half of the image. Okay, not a problem, we can fix it. Height we want it to auto, and we want the cursor to be pointer as you are moving your cursor on it, and we want overflow to be hidden up over here, and we want the position to be relative for these things. Okay, so if we will go up over here and see, we are getting the teams in a particular order and perfectly fine. Okay, now moving on with the next thing, what we are going to do, we are going to say our team wrapper, team members, and we're going to close this. Okay, so we are going to say this our team underscore wrapper team members underscore image, and we are going to say display as block these images, and I want the width to be 100% and height to be auto, and the next thing we can give is, if we need, you will be able to see everything came up over here in a particular order. So if you need some animations or something, if you want to put, you can also put, and means putting on the image, you can scale the things. Let's try to do it, if it is going to work. So let's say we are giving the transition, we are giving all 0 0.5 is the second is the timing, and I want to use the transition function, that is ease. And now moving on with the next thing, as soon as I'm clicking on the team members, it needs to hover up. It means it is going to hover up, so we are going to say hover image, and you need to transform, and scale to 1.1. Let's say if we are clicking, so okay, so the images is scaling up a little bit. You can see as soon as we are moving up, and our transition is working perfectly fine. Okay, now we can target our footer, and everything is perfectly fine. We can target our footer, and we can write the query for our media screens. Okay, so let's target our footer quickly. So that was Teqstories original. So let's say I'm going to say dot footer, and if in this I wanted to give some width, let's say width I want is 100%, and I want the text to be aligned to center, and I want it some background, and some background color I can give. The footer is going to be a little bit different, so we can give some 444. Okay, too much. And background color done. We can give some padding also. Let's say 20 px and 0 is going to be fine. We are getting the footer, and because it was in an anchor tag, so we also have to target this again using the anchor tag footer anchor tag, and I wanted the color of this to be converted to white, and if we need, we can increase the font size a little bit. So let's say font size we can increase is going to be larger. Okay, so try saving this, and with the font size got up a little bit larger, and we're getting up the things up over here perfectly fine. And as soon as we are refreshing, we are getting the things. We can change the color a little bit so we can see what we are actually getting. Teqstories original, and you can see all the items got aligned up, and everything is looking perfectly fine. So image is also looking home, about us, contact us, our teams, these things are also looking good enough. Yes, now we need one more thing, that is the decorations and the other things to be turned off. So in the global selector we have to include much more things. That we need is we are going to include some of the things in the global selector. That text decoration we don't need. We want the box sizing is going to be border box, and we can say outline is going to be none, means if you're clicking on something we don't need outline, and we can say outline is going to be none, and we can say list style is going to be none, because if you will see on the top we were getting the dots, right? So now we don't have any dots remaining, so list style is going to be none. Bullet points got removed up because of this, and now we can include some padding from the margins is going to be 0, and we can include the font family up over here. So basically we can include some font family. Let's say I'm writing down some font, that is Josephine sans and comma sans serif. Try converting it, and every font got converted up accordingly. Okay, so paragraph you can choose some color that is going to look good on these conditions, and a little bit more whiter grays go for, so you can see the things. Okay, and this is how we are getting the things actually, and you can see how we have created this, and how it is looking up over here. And if we will try to inspect this, and if you will see on the different type of devices, we are not getting the upper things, let's say this image and the other things, to be aligned up correctly. So we can write down the query for that also if we need. So we have already discussed that we're going to create the responsive web page design, so we are going to write down the queries quickly. So we are going to say the queries we are going to write up over here is, let's say we are going to say that at the rate media max dash width is going to be let's say 720 px devices we are going to target, because we are getting in the lower devices the error, and for the bigger devices everything is working fine. So let's say we were getting the problem in the nav bar, we can give height is going to be auto, and we can give the flex direction needs to be column. And moving on with the next thing, what we can do, we can also target our logo text that is inside the logo, and we can say margin from the bottom we can see is, let's say 25 pixels. I'm not sure, let me check this. So as soon as I'm refreshing, you are getting up over here Teqstories text is coming up. Home about us services contact our team is also aligned correctly up over here, right? Okay. Now what we can include up over here is we can include uh, our navigation bar to go a little bit more good, and everything, the image is perfectly fine for the web page designings, and footer is also looking good, and our team content is also looking good. So it means images, web page design is perfectly fine for all the devices, but navigation bar we wanted to change a little bit of the things, and so what we can do, we can say dot nav bar and underscore items, and we are going to see unordered list, and inside this I'm going to say flex direction is going to be column, because flexible direction display flex or flex direction is column, basically going to help us more in the making a web page responsive, and I wanted to target the links also. So let me see, I'm targeting the unordered list, and the list item also let me target, and I'm going to say margin from the bottom, or the margin from the bottom I need is going to be 20 px, let's say, and as soon as I'm refreshing, okay, margin too much, so margin from the bottom, let's say 5 px. Okay, so we are getting the things perfectly fine, and now what we can do, we can say the content of the banner to come a little bit low, so we can say banner underscore content, and let's say margin from top I need is going to be 35 px, and try saving this, refreshing, margin we are getting from the top, and we can uh, justify the content, and we can say justify content space around, and actually it is getting already the space. So this is how we can do the things, and this is looking good enough, and if you will see, then we are getting the color perfectly fine, and the crimson color basically works up over here, and the learn more button we are getting the pointer up over here, we are getting services, the paragraph, we are getting HTML CSS, that is contact us fields we are getting, okay, the messages field, the submit button, and we are getting our team, that is like transition is happening up over here, and we are getting the footer. So our page is looking good enough. Now let's see the responsiveness. If you will right click, go on inspect, and if you will try to run this on multiple devices, let's say Moto G4, the page is much more smooth and looking good. On different, let's say iPhone 5, the page is smooth and looking good. So if we can see, our page is much more responsive now. Navigation bars and the other things are also responsive. Okay, this regards from the image, everything is much more responsive, and we are getting the things perfectly fine. Okay, and the image also is doing a great job. If you will see, it is displaying up in a perfect manner. Okay, so this is how we can do the things, and that's it, what I have from my side. So thank you so much guys, and please do subscribe, like and share. Okay, so thank you so much, and thank you, please subscribe.